And so, yes, we're just hearing from a law enforcement official who is confirming to my colleague Ken Delanian that a fifth person was traveling with that group of Americans.
What's up with y'all? What's up with y'all? Welcome back to Moxy Approved. Zindell Brown, Shaeed Woodard, Eric Williams, and Latavia McGee. They were recently taken at gunpoint for entering Mexico for Latavia McGee to reportedly get a tummy tuck.
Two Americans returning to the U.S. from Mexico after their group was kidnapped last Friday. They had traveled there so that Latavia Washington McGee could undergo a medical procedure.
Now, a video has circulated after they were taken at gunpoint that I can't play this video. Many of you probably already saw this video, but they're flagging pages that's playing this video. And pretty much it's a video of two of them being dragged in the truck, and I believe Eric Williams and Latavia McGee walking to the back of a truck when they are abducted.
It does not surprise me because kidnapping is a cottage industry in Mexico.
Shortly after such a tragic incident occurred yesterday on Reddit, a rumor originated, that's where it originated at, on Reddit, that this was a drug deal gone bad. Now, the internet has never seen a rumor that it didn't like. This rumor caught on like wildfire. Well, let's take a look at it. But before we go further into the story, please do me one small favor. Hit that like button, and if you haven't already, apply pressure to that subscribe button. Apply pressure to that subscribe button. Before this group of FBA traveled to Mexico, the government put out a travel advisory of a level 4, not to travel to Mexico.
Is under a State Department level 4 do not travel advisory.
Who are some of the other countries that they also have on a level 4 travel advisory?
The same issued for Iraq,
Iraq, right.
Iran, and Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. The moment that they crossed the border is where they made their biggest mistake. They asked for directions.
Armed gunmen in body armor chased them.
Well, this was immediately met with gunfire.
Opening fire on their white minivan. The gunmen then kidnapping the group. A Mexican bystander also killed.
Now, some of you at this moment is telling yourself, well, that's where the drug deal was going wrong, and that's why they got the gunfire. That makes sense.
Mexican officials now believe the shooting and kidnapping was a case of mistaken identity.
But what you're not taking into account is that this group of FBA resembled a group of people in Mexico right now that Mexicans have a deep resentment for. Yep, you guessed it, the Haitians.
10,000 Haitian migrants in Tijuana.
It's so dangerous for them right now that they can't even go past where we see those cars there. People are literally attacking them.
Yeah.
In your eyes and their eyes, are these racially motivated attacks?
It is racially motivated, yes. You will speak to a lot of authorities or leaders. They will tell you there's no such thing as violence against Black people.
That's why I asked.
But the reality is, I have been burying people here every week, and they will find us a reason as to why this is not connected.
Oh wait, but there's more. Details came about of a fifth person.
And so, yes, we're just hearing from a law enforcement official who is confirming to my colleague Ken Delanian that a fifth person was traveling with that group of Americans from South Carolina towards the Texas border.
That exited the car before they got to Mexico.
That person got out of the vehicle before the border.
Eric Williams briefly showed this fifth person on his Facebook Live before they got there.
Now, this video appears to show that fifth person inside the vehicle. That video was apparently taken by Eric Williams. Now, he is one of the Americans who survived this attack. He is now recovering from a gunshot wound to the leg. But certainly, Vicky, this raises a lot more questions about the days leading up to this attack.
Why did this person exit the car? Because he didn't have a passport.
Because they did not have the proper documentation to cross into Mexico.
Now, if you're worried about leaving the country and entering back in without having a passport, what does that mean? They were worried about getting pulled over. So you're worried about getting pulled over without a passport, but you're not worried about being pulled over coming back with kilos? Not to mention Who would do a deal with Mexicans with drugs with no guns?
38-year-old Williams, a husband and father, was shot in the leg but is expected to survive.
2 other members of the group, Shaid Woodard and Zindell Brown, tragically killed.
The Mexican government is ashamed of this. Because they like blacks? No way. They don't want the attention of the FBI government. So they don't want responsibility for this, but they have no choice. They already have in custody a 24-year-old who was placed in charge of watching these group of people while the authorities were looking for him.
A 24-year-old man identified only by his first name, Jose, arrested. Mexican authorities say he was in charge of watching the Americans.
You see, they had figured out soon after they shot 2 of them that these were not Haitians. These were not human traffickers like they thought they were. They were regular black folk that one of them wanted a tummy tuck. Something that people go to Mexico for all the time. And that's very important in this situation. Why? Because if this was a drug deal gone wrong, Mexicans, they don't play with that. There will be 4 dead people and not 2.
The gunmen may have targeted the vehicle because they wrongly believed the group of Americans were rival human traffickers.
Eventually, the Mexican authorities found a shack where this group was being stashed at. Mexico knows that this is a big deal right now, right? So I promise you, if there was any proof that these blacks, these FBA, were down there to do a drug deal and get a tummy tuck, I promise you, Eric Williams and Latavia McGee would not be let back on American soil. And Mexico would have the right to say, hey, look, this is not our fault. You can't send people down here to Mexico to do drug deals, blaming on our country. They will be the first ones to put that out. They would have charged Latavia McGee or at least keep them down there to do more investigation. Now, what's the major point that I want to make with this video? Cut the music, cut the music. The sons of Satan has made part of their existence to make my people look bad, to make us all look like drug dealers and stuff like that. To the point where we look so bad to where everywhere we go in this world, we're in danger. But now you have these minions, right? Who are non-FBA, most of them are non-FBA, who are siding with the sons of Satan and taking their position to attack us and attack our image. Lately, I've been speaking a lot about how FBA, we need to protect our image. I call it the spirit of Tommy Sotomayor. And Tommy's not even on YouTube anymore, but it's a spirit that he introduced on YouTube where you get likes and you get views on making black people look bad. Now, I can't even blame the sons of Satan on this one because they said it from the get-go that this was mistaken identity.
Mexican officials now believe the shooting and kidnapping was a case of mistaken identity.
But you want to know who's the biggest problem in this situation? You. Yes, I said it. You. You tell me, how much is your attention worth? You gonna sit here and side with these other people to make black men look bad like this? Black women, I've been hearing it from y'all the last few years. We need y'all to protect us. So you gonna give attention to these guys to say that these guys was down there doing a drug deal. They told Latavia not to go down there for a tummy tuck. She wanted to go anyway. So they said, okay, her childhood friends, I'm gonna come with you to make sure you return safe. And they lost their life for it. And you gonna give your attention to these non-FBA filth that's gonna throw lies on these young men's name. So when their kids look up online about how their daddies died, their father's death is going to be lost. Their legacy is going to be lost in the host of lies because you gave it the attention. You sided with these rumors out there.
And you helped to raise Shaid, right, who died. Can you tell us about him?
Yes. His mother had passed away when he was like 15, and I had him ever since then. And Latavia, he was in the house, and so she took him as her brother, which is her cousin. But it's her brother and her cousin. It's my nephew and my son. And he was a good person. And, you know, I miss him, I love him, and nothing I wouldn't do for him.
But I want to tell you something. Don't forget, none of us know what day we pass, and none of us know how we gonna pass. You don't have to be famous to make these headlines. You just have to have an interesting story. And you never know how you gonna pass and which form you gonna pass. And I pray to God that don't nobody make up a rumor so your legacy on trying to protect one of your own don't get lost in a sea of lies. Ain't that what they did to Yahshua? Well, anyways, y'all know how we like to end our video over here at Moxy Approved, right? With that water. I see y'all here next time on Moxy Approved.